If you're a Christian and you live in the Western world, no matter what Christian denomination you are, there is a pivotal battle in world history that, if lost by the Catholic forces, would have resulted in the extinction of Christianity. You likely have not heard of this battle, and if you have heard of it, you likely have not been taught the significance that it held. I speak of the Battle of Lepanto, which was a naval sea battle that occurred on the Mediterranean Sea on October 7th, 1571. This battle took place between the Catholic European forces and the Islamic Ottoman forces. And the amazing thing about the battle is how, through the prayers of the Most Holy Rosary, Our Lady saved the Western world, and in turn, Christianity. And she did this in a battle that the Ottomans were supposed to win. And so in this video, I will explain the battle itself, the historical context of the battle, which is very important to understand it, the chances for the Catholics to win, which are very low, the miracles that occurred in the battle the night before, how they prayed it, and I will also explain the significance of the battle itself. So make sure you stay tuned and you watch all the way through with an open mind. Hello, gentlemen and ladies. Welcome back to Totally Marian. I'm your host, Augustine. It's been a couple weeks. It's been a week or two. We started school, so we got a little busy. But we're rocking the buzz. That means that summer was officially extended. I also started an Instagram for the channel. We're posting some epic Catholic content on there. So make sure you give it a follow. It's at totally.marian on Instagram. But let's just jump straight into the video today. So yes, we're talking about the Battle of Lepanto. You know, Chesterton, he wrote a little poem about Lepanto. It's a pretty good poem. I recommend it. So let's start with the historical context of the battle. This goes back all the way to the 1600s with the founding of Islam. When it was founded in around 600, the Muhammad founded a very essential part of Islam to conquer as much land as it could. So since the beginning of Islam, it has done that. And so for the beginning, it took most of the Middle East, and then it moved towards Northern Africa. And then a very big victory for the Muslims was the taking of Constantinople in the year 1453. And Constantinople was the capital of the Byzantine Empire, which was what remained of the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire was the first major nation to become Christian. So it was a big victory for them. And then they ended up moving even a little bit north into Eastern Europe. But they did not want to stop there. They wanted to go into Western Europe. So of course, they tried to do that. There were some preliminary battles, mostly naval sea battles along the Mediterranean, that helped the Muslims grow closer and closer to Italy and mainland Europe. And one of these was the taking of a Venetian colony in the island of Cyprus, which was a vital point for the Republic of Venice at the time. And also it symbolically meant that they were getting very close to Europe. And it was also a terrible loss because the Venetians had signed an agreement that if they surrendered, the Muslims would allow all the Venetians there to leave freely. But then the Muslim commander broke his word and imprisoned all of the Venetians, even skinning one of the Venetian commanders alive and hanging him on his boat, along with the heads of other commanders. Yeah, those are the types of stories that we don't get taught about in history class. Unless, of course, some obscure Christian had committed them, even though it is obviously against Christian law. But anyways, after this, Pope St. Pius V organized a coalition called the Holy League, which would fight against the Ottomans. And it was composed of the Spanish Empire, the Papal States, the republics of Genoa, and of course Venice, and some other smaller nations. But you might be wondering, where are the big names that we've all known, like the Holy Roman Empire, Germany and France and Britain, and all of those other nations that fought so valiantly in the Crusades and were all part of the big Christendom alliance? Well, that is where the Protestant Reformation comes into play. At this time, all of Europe was split in half because of the Protestant Reformation. France was dealing with Calvinism in its country, and the Holy Roman Empire was mostly Lutheran, but a lot of the southern part was Catholic, and even southern Germany still remains Catholic to this day. But still, it was fighting with that. And then Britain, especially England, was Anglican at the time. And it was spreading a lot other parts of Europe too, and non-Catholics thought that the Ottoman threat was only something that the Catholics had to worry about. Now, if you think about this, do you think that if the Ottomans had beat the Catholics, would they have stopped there? I don't think so. So only the nations that I mentioned previously were involved in the Holy League. The King of Spain at the time, Philip II, was largely the financier of the fleet and the Holy League coalition, while Venice provided most of the ships that fought in it. The banner that the Pope blessed for the coalition depicted a crucifix with the coat of arms of the republics of Genoa and Venice, of Spain, and the Papal States, and the nations of the Holy League. And it was solemnly consigned in a celebration in the Basilica of St. Clare in Assisi to Philip II's half-brother, Don John of Austria. From there, the fleet took off. The Holy League fleet was composed of about 214 boats manned by 80,000 troops, and the Ottoman fleet was composed of about 225 boats plus 50-ish smaller boats manned by 120,000 soldiers. We can see where the advantages lay in this battle. However, the night before the battle, Don John of Austria ordered for all the ships on the Holy League fleet to begin praying the Rosary at night. Some sources say that the Ottomans that heard them became scared from the rhythmic repetition of the prayers. And even throughout the battle the next day, the Pope, St. Pius V at the time, was praying his Rosary throughout the entire battle. They all gave this battle to Our Lady, realizing that the survival of Christendom lay with the battle. And early the next morning, Don John of Austria ordered for Mass to be ordered on all of the ships. In the morning, the wind seemed to be on the Ottoman side until randomly it changed complete directions and began helping and aiding the Christian side, and it remained like that for the rest of the battle. Some sources even say that there was a fog on the Ottoman side of the battle. A curious thing is that the formation that the Ottoman fleet took to attack was the shape of a crescent moon. And the shape that the Christians took to attack was the shape of a cross. This shows that this battle wasn't only political or historical. There was something a lot deeper to it than that. I won't go into much detail about the battle itself, but basically about 4 hours into the battle, the Christians declared victory, and they had won. The Catholics had won, even though the chances were completely against them, and this was because of Our Lady. And it is said that miraculously, at the moment of victory, St. Pius V, who was in Rome, received divine vision and was told of the victory. He immediately got down to a crucifix and adored it and thanked God so much for this needed victory. And then a couple of days later, when a messenger from Don John came to tell the Pope about the victory, he quoted the Gospel of St. John, chapter 1, verse 6, where it says, "There was a man sent from God, and his name was John," referring to Don John of Austria. Now, if you're Catholic, which feast is celebrated on October 7th in the church? The Feast of Our Lady of the Most Holy Rosary. That was actually established by St. Pius V after this battle. Originally, the name of the feast was called the Our Lady of Victory, and it is still celebrated in some places simultaneously with the Feast of the Rosary, but then they added this one too. So it's a very special feast, October 7th, to celebrate the power of the Rosary and of the victory that Our Lady is on our side. Although, yes, the Ottoman Empire wasn't destroyed because of this battle, any honest historian will agree that this marked the beginning of the end of the Ottomans' rule in the Mediterranean and their power in there. It made it impossible for them to continue going up to Europe. Indeed, the Ottomans never did get to Italy and Western Europe. This victory gave Christians hope. And also, it gave them knowledge that God was on their side, as well as letting them know that the Ottomans aren't invincible. Alternate history is an exercise where you take X historical event and analyze what would have happened if the opposite result had occurred. Had the Battle of Lepanto been lost, it certainly seems as if Christianity would have been extinct. The Muslims would not have stopped there. They would have kept going up until Rome and Italy and taken Rome. And then they wouldn't have stopped there either. They would have kept going up to Northern Europe and gotten all the Protestants too. We'd all be wearing Kuwaits and praying 5 times a day facing Mecca. We know that Christianity cannot become extinct. Christ assured this in St. Matthew chapter 16, verse 18, where he says, "And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." This is a fact. I will explain what I mean by the title of this video. All good comes from God, but God can use instruments that are his creation for that good to take place. God could have done it himself when he cast Satan down into hell, and he did do it, but he did it through Saint Michael. God also exalted Our Lady above all creation, and he used in this battle, he used the prayers of the faithful through the Rosary and her intercession. He used those for this to be the case, so that Christianity wouldn't become extinct. There is a balance to this. We must trust, because of Christ's promise, that even if they had lost the battle, Christianity would have not gone extinct. However, if we analyze it, ignoring that fact, and also just looking at it from a solely probability standpoint, we can also see that it is most likely that Christianity would have been extinct. It is safe to say now that according to God's plan, the way he willed it, the Rosary saved Christianity. What I mean by this is we can safely honor Mary's intercession in this pivotal battle of history in the same way that we honor Saint Michael for casting demons into hell. God now willed for those intercessions to occur, so let us rejoice in his plan and fully partake in them by thanking God for these people that interceded. I thank you for watching this video all the way through. I think it's an important topic to talk about. It shows Mary's power, especially through the Rosary. Such a beautiful and wonderful gift that we have. If you guys like these types of historical videos, let me know. There's a lot of stuff that we could talk about with history, so I'm really open to that. I urge you to research about the battle itself some more. I recommend that Chesterton poem. It's pretty good. Also, Miguel de Cervantes, who wrote Don Quixote, fought in that battle, and I think he wrote about it as well, so that's kind of a fun fact. The Feast of Our Lady of the Rosary is actually a very special feast to me because it is the first time I went to the traditional Latin Mass, which was a big moment in my faith journey. So I guess that's about it for this video. May God bless you and Our Lady keep you, and I'll see you next time. St. Pius V, pray for us. Our Lady of Victory, pray for us.